what's the story? Yeah, decided I'd start a podcast because why not? There's literally no reason not to. So, yeah, big thanks to the Just Manup podcast and Al for unknowingly giving me the motivation to start this, because it's something I wanted to do for a while. But there's a lot of judgmental people, especially in the fucking Dublin area, that you'd be worried about someone thinking a certain way about you, and it really doesn't matter at all, does it? Do you know what I mean? So I'm doing this because I want to do it. But just start off, I guess, by saying I'm James. I'm from Dublin. I do comedy sometimes when I'm in a funny mood, and most of you who are listening to this probably already know that. But this is gonna be a weekly thing. Every Saturday I'm gonna upload one. It's just gonna be me basically talking shy, and that's it. It's gonna be a different topic each week, and hopefully you just enjoy what you hear. But if not, sure, I can't do anything about that. But this is just the first episode, and what I'm going to be focusing on is mental health, basically, primarily anxiety and depression, because that's the two that I suffer with on a daily basis. And I think the worst part about either of these conditions is you feel like unbelievably alone, even though you have hundreds of people around you supporting you. But regardless of how many times they say they understand and they know how you feel, they couldn't possibly know what's going on inside your head. And that's the thing about it. Like, the only people who know really what's going on is people who've been through it. But each strain of anxiety and depression is unique in its own way, and it can affect everybody differently, which is a horrible thing about it, because in a sense you are alone when you're suffering from it, because it's different to the rest. But there is similarities as well. And one thing I read in a book by Matt Haig called Reasons to Stay Alive, which I highly recommend. I'll link it down below in I'll set down below. I don't even know where I'm going to post this. I don't even know if I'm going to post it. But I'll link it in, if I'm posting this on YouTube, I'll link it there. But I'm just going to turn that music down a little bit. But so one thing I read in the book basically was, it's a fantastic book, honestly. It changed my life. But it was a thing about how mental health and other illnesses are looked at differently. And like, I couldn't agree more. He says in the book, if people talked about anxiety and depression, or any mental illness for that matter, the way they talk about, for example, like a physical illness, you get a very different reaction. Like, for example, everyone gets a bit of bowel cancer every now and then. Like, if someone said that, they'd be looked at as a nutcase. But because of depression, etc., is such a silent killer, it seems to be overlooked and it goes unnoticed, which then of course leads to it worsening and the people affected by it. But there's a big thing as well about the stigma around mental health. People talk about it a lot, but nobody really truly knows where this invisible stigma came from. Like, some people say it's because of the boy who cried wolf type of people pretending they have a mental illness for attention, fucking had a stroke there as well, for attention, or for indeed a bit of fucking social welfare. But others say it comes from like toxic masculinity, and how men have been told to be, they've been told and basically programmed by society to bottle up their feelings rather than cry, in quotes, like a woman, which is completely nuts in my opinion. I don't think men are men and women are women. I think that we're just humans, do you know what I mean? And you need to be able to show emotion like everybody else. And I personally think the stigma is brought on and worsened by us, like the people, because when someone opens up about how they're feeling, sometimes it's easy to take a selfish approach and think, I've got my own problems, I'll let them know I'm here for them. And it's almost, once like someone says that, like, yeah, here if you need me, head up, it's like their good deed is done for the day. And like, I think people need to pursue it more, because it's not a good deed. You're not doing it because you want to prove that you're a good person or anything, do you know what I mean? It's like, it's not like giving a homeless person a tenner or something and you're like, I done me good deed for the day by sending one text. I mean, if you think someone's depressed or someone's anxious and someone's going through some stuff, you do need to pursue it. Like, you need to keep on them, because it's like, at the end of the day, it's an extremely cold world we live in. Like, a horrible place we live in, and everyone's out for number one, like, at the end of the day, which is themselves. And I fully agree. Like, if a friendship is toxic or a relationship is toxic, then you should be escaped from. You should put yourself first in a lot of aspects. But like, for example, when Australia was on fire, and currently as the coronavirus is spreading around the world, everyone's on board with it. And like mental health is a worsening issue that everyone needs to stay on top of, because it's wiping out more men and whoa, I had another stroke. It's wiping out more men and women than like the likes of cancer. Well, like cancer kills more women statistically, but like suicide kills far more men than any other illness. Like in general, you could say that depression is the world's biggest killer. Like, and it's the least talked about thing, which I find interesting and I find annoying as well. Like, I mean, it's interesting that a statistic shows that 75% more women suffer from depression, but 75% more men commit suicide. Like, and this is because of many factors like that range from the suicide method for one. Women tend to pick a method that usually doesn't actually kill them, like for example overdosing and stuff like that, and doing like slicing their wrists and stuff is another one which can usually be saved, but men pick a more well gruesome way to do it a lot of the times. But another big reason that this statistic is the way it is because there's not enough support groups for young men in this day and age, and any men to be honest, like even just the phrase like the man flu, like, you know what I mean? And I'm not being a big mega manimist here, do you know what I mean? I'm all for, like, that's exactly it, I'm all for equality. I think everyone should be looked at in as the fragile people that we are, because we are, like, you know what I mean? Convincing yourself every day that you're the strongest person in the world, and it's not healthy. Sometimes you do need help, and it's okay to want it. Like, and one issue I wanted to talk about was the symptoms of anxiety and depression, because one thing that like really annoys me is that depression is associated with sadness, and it's not remotely true whatsoever. Like, sadness is a feeling, an emotion that proves you're human. Like, it's good to be sad, like, and when you have depression, like, you feel like an alien coming to Earth for the first time, and everyone's normal and you're not. It feels like you're just on a different plane of existence, or it feels like entering the gates of hell as a spirit or something. It just feels completely horrible and just outer worldly. Like, it just doesn't feel real. But like, metaphors aside, like the actual symptoms released by the NHS, better source than the Irish healthcare system, thanks Leo, are as follows. Like, psychological symptoms are, as said on the NHS, continuous low mood or sadness, feeling hopeless or helpless, having low self-esteem, feeling tearful, feeling guilt-ridden. That's a big one. Feeling guilty, like you've done something, or like you're not worthy to feel like this. But it can happen to anybody at any time of your life. It can be brought on by trauma, or it can just happen. And feeling irritable and intolerant of others, having no motivation or interest in things, finding it difficult to make decisions, not getting any enjoyment out of life, which is a big one with depression, feeling anxious or worried, and having suicidal thoughts or thoughts of harming yourself. That's the psychological symptoms. The physical symptoms, moving or speaking more slowly than usual, changes in appetite or weight, usually decreased but sometimes increased. That's rare usually. Well, I found it was rare. My appetite dropped significantly and then it increased like crazy, so it was a bit weird. Constipation, unexplained aches and pains, a lot of chest pains too. A lot of chest pains you get, and you be convinced it's heart attacks, and it's just not. It's just unexplained. Like, it's just you just can't. You don't know why. Lack of energy. That's a big one. Low sex drive or loss of libido, which as well can be worsened by some antidepressants that the doctor decides to put you on. It can be way worsened by that. And changes in your menstrual cycle. Me personally, my period was late. No, I'm only joking. But no, changing in your menstrual cycle. Disturbed sleep, for example, finding it hard to fall asleep or waking up very early in the morning. That was a big one for me. And just in the book that I mentioned, Reasons to Stay Alive, one symptom Matt Haig mentions, and it's a symptom left out by the NHS, and it's left out by basically every sort of website you look at the depression symptoms on, and it's one that I suffer with on a 24-hour a day basis, is depersonalization or derealization. And it's basically the feeling of, well, not feeling real. And considering I've got severe health-based anxiety, that's where my anxiety comes from. Excuse me. It feels quite similar to having a brain injury in a sense, which makes it worse again because it's playing into the suspicion that something's wrong that's worse than depression. And everyone has different triggers, like, but my trigger would be the fact that I think there's something wrong with me, you know. I think there's like that's always been my trigger. But I think at the end of the day, one of the worst things about depression is the fact that, like, it's misinterpreted, and like we're taught the wrong things about it. about what being depressed really is. Like, and for that reason, it can make the victim feel a billion times worse because they're in a state of utter confusion most of the time. And they may seem happy or they may seem a little bit pissed off. On the inside, they're insanely fucking terrified. Like, I should know, I suffer with it on a daily basis. But like a lot of things, with knowledge comes power. And the more you know, the more easy it is to actually improve. I never say cure, I'd just say improve, because like being fully cured isn't an option. But that's why I fell so deeply into the whole of depression as well, is because I thought I was going to be like this for the rest of my life, which is a common thing. Like, I'm going to be like this forever. People say when you're depressed, oh, the future's clouded. And unless you've suffered with it, you don't really know what that means. Like, oh yeah, the future's clouded. What do you mean by that? Like, but the future, like, this is the future forever. This isn't how I feel right now is the way I'm going to feel forever. But that's not the case at all. I mean, it can't be cured, but it can definitely be improved. Like, and like, once you do improve it and you find a way to improve yourself and improve your symptoms and stuff, like, the level of empowerment you feel is just unfucking believable. Like, it's just, you feel like the most powerful person in the world. Like, you're like, I'm out there beating this demon just a little bit, just a tiny bit, but it's enough to feel like you've accomplished, you've won the lotto, you know what I mean? And that's another thing. Materialistic things go out the window when you're suffering with this. Like, money doesn't matter, nothing matters at all apart from the fact that you're trapped in a prison, and that prison is your mind. And that's why, unfortunately, a lot of young lads and young people in general kill themselves because of not the anxiety, but because of mental illnesses. And because they're not, it's the feeling of not knowing. You know, you don't know what's going on, you don't know what's happening inside your head constantly, but there is something. And like, you can't get rid of it in forever in 3 easy steps, but like, once you learn to control it, like, it's just the feeling is unbelievable. And anxiety and depression works hand in hand with each other and worsens each other, basically. One goes with the other, the way fire goes with petrol. And depression is slow and numb, and anxiety is fast and tingly, to put it simply. And when you have both, it genuinely feels like someone's drugged you for the majority of the day. And it doesn't get easier when you go to bed either, it only gets worse. Eventually, when like you pass out from the sheer exhaustion, and then the cycle starts again. But I've always been an anxious kid, like, ever since I was young. But it got really bad, and I suffered a massive panic attack that I was fully convinced was a heart attack or a stroke, because I had symptoms of both last October. And that's when things really took like a toll for the worse, because like, I actually don't have much memory of the time from October to around Christmas, because I was in bed most of the time. I was getting debilitating panic attacks on a daily basis. But that's one thing that is like, not knowing time. That's another big one. Not knowing like when's when, or what's going on, you know what I mean, or not knowing anything like that. That's one big one, because it's like, time doesn't matter, because every day is the exact same. Every day is a carbon copy of another one. Like, and that's the problem. You need to break that. That's like, since Christmas, things have improved a lot for me. Like, everyone's different, but I list off what I myself currently use as coping mechanisms. Number one is routine. I can't stress enough how important this is. Since falling ill, I lost my routine completely, and I didn't want it back either. I was perfectly happy, well, not happy, but comfortable, falling asleep at 8 in the morning and waking up between 5 and 6, ordering a takeaway, getting palpitations from the food I ate, and then going back to bed. But as hard as it is to get up early, it helps immensely, because it makes you feel like a regular person again, or at least a percentage of you does. Like, if it's 2% of you that feels a little bit normal again because you're getting up early, you're like, hold on a minute, I'm not this fucking depressed, sad failure. I'm actually getting up and doing something. And it's just all about, if you feel 2% on your first day, a little bit better, it's all about just pushing it until eventually you feel 50% normal. And if you feel 50% normal, you've beaten it. Do you know what I mean? You've beaten that demon. And so I can't stress enough, the same time every day is just ideal. And it doesn't have to be early, it's just the same time every day. It's just the main thing. Number two is walking, or any form of light exercise. Like, I walk 25 minutes a day now religiously. Started off as 5 minutes because I'd get to the end of my road, have a panic attack that felt like a heart attack, and have to run home. And I increased it week by week until now I actually look forward to my daily walks. Like, I really do. I enjoy them. I really like them. The third thing I do daily is meditation. You could literally say I'm addicted to meditating at this stage. Like, I can't put into words how fucking relaxed you feel when you hit that level of zen, or whatever you want to refer to it as, but it's when all your thoughts are just completely clear and your body is dead with the relaxation. And another big one is diet. Anyone who knows me knows that I love food. I always have. But again, eating the right nutrients every day. Nothing too severe like fish and a rice cake for every meal or anything, but just food that your body needs. Like, can it can make your body, your mind, and let's face it, like your soul just feel so much better. Like just eating the right food. Do you know what I mean? Like, and of course, get a takeaway. Get a takeaway twice a week if you want. Do you know what I mean? Fuck it. I'm not saying one cheat meal a week now. Oh, chest and back on a Monday. Oh, legs on a Wednesday. Do you know what I mean? Like, just get a takeaway whenever you want. Like, obviously not whenever you want. It's not good to get one every day, but like, don't think of it as this chore. Think of it that you're doing it to make yourself better. You're doing it to improve yourself because you want to do it. And then 5, I'm not as informed on this as like I am going to be, because when I continue doing it, but cold water therapy, basically having a shower, a cold ass shower. And I haven't been doing this long enough to feel its full effect or anything, but I do know battling through a cold shower and breathing and just saying relax, it'll pass, the shock will pass, is a lot like battling through a panic attack. So they have their similarities together, which is once you learn how to do that and get accustomed to it, you feel a lot stronger. So like, look, at the end of the day, I don't even know if I'm going to post this, to be honest, but if there's anyone listening to this who suffered with or is suffering with some of the things I listed above, or indeed any other type of mental illness, just do this for the next 2 weeks, just 2 weeks, and just comment how you feel, because I think the more people who speak out, make a fake account, call it fucking Barbara Streisand or something, do you know what I mean, or Owen Wilson, wow, or something. Just make a fake account if you don't want your name, and just comment down just like how it made you feel after the 2 weeks, right? So number 1, wake up at a set time, whether it be 10, 11, 12 o'clock, it doesn't matter, just make sure it's at a set time when your day begins. 2, do a 10-minute minimum walk per day. Breathe in the fresh air and remind yourself the world's getting brighter every day. We're coming into summer. 3, do a 10 minutes of meditation a day. There's a lot of guided meditations videos available on YouTube. I'll put a link in the description as well. 4, drink 1.5 litres of water a day. Don't go slamming 7 litres, it's not a detox, just make sure your body gets enough water. 5, eat relatively healthy. I already said that, just relatively. 6, smile. It literally increases the dopamine receptors in your brain and the serotonin receptors. Just smile. Even if you look like your man from the Joker fucking smiling at yourself in the mirror, just smile for a few minutes a day. Just fucking smile and laugh, watch something funny, fucking be happy, for fuck's sake. Do you know what I mean? There's plenty of fucking, and I hate saying this, but it could be a lot worse, and I know I hate saying this because your world might be ending, because I know the feeling, but it's like, just fucking smile. Do you know what I mean? Just smile. And finally 7, talk. Just talk to people about anything. Talk shite if you want, or talk to yourself. Don't get too fond of that one though, it can drive you a bit mad. Just talk to someone you trust once a day and just tell them what's going on inside your head in your own words. And you might not know what's going on, but just try put it into words, because the more you understand it, with knowledge is power, and you'll beat it eventually, and it definitely will. Like, and you're not weak for feeling the way you do, you're actually strong for feeling the way you do. So remind yourself that every day, that you are strong. And if you're listening and you know someone who may be suffering with a mental illness, it's not something to be looked at twice. It's not something to be looked over. It's not a quick fix. Do you know what I mean? And it's not something small either. It's fucking huge. It's huge. It's the biggest thing in the world to a lot of people, because it is their world. It's their life. Whether it's anxiety, depression, OCD, bipolar disorder, anything that affects your brain affects your universe virtually. So be there for them. You know what I mean? If your biggest issue is the fact that you have to work a long shift, but your brain is fine and you can chill out and you can watch movies and relax and not, I can't believe I said movies, the American was coming out at me there, but if you can relax and watch films and not be getting palpitations and everything, if your biggest issue is just small things like work and stuff, just don't put yourself first if you know someone who's suffering from stuff like this. You know what I mean? Because it's like, it's unbelievable how much the support of somebody who cares about you actually really does help. And I'm not just saying that, it really fucking does. I mean, if you think, no, me asking them, come on, we go for a walk, it'll do you good, I know they won't like that. They will like it. And like, that's basically it. Just remind yourself every day that you're strong if you are suffering from things like this. And just, yeah, that's basically it. So for the first little podcast, I don't feel like Joe Rogan now. Wow, man, it's fucking amazing, man. Shit. Fuck. Wow. Tigers, man. Shit. But yeah, kind of cut out there. As you can tell, I'm nowhere near Joe Rogan standard at this stage. But I suppose I am a bald prick. But no, listen. Thanks for watching again. Big thanks to Al from the Just Manup podcast, because he not only inspired me to start this Shy Talk podcast, I'm gonna call it, because that's all I do, talk shy. He did help me a lot through a lot of bad times that I felt alone on a Monday when I woke up doing nothing like every other day, and then being able to listen and knowing that I'm not alone. So if I could just extend that feeling to other people, it'd be fantastic. And it won't be just mental health that I'm talking about. I'm going to be talking about a lot of different things. I've got a few episodes lined up that I'll be talking about a lot of different things. I'll be shy talking. That's literally it, just shy talking. But thanks for listening. Anyways, I'll be uploading this Shy Talk podcast once a week. And remember, keep talking shy. Let's kill the stigma and not ourselves. See you later.